Now, Newzroom Africa's business editor, Xolani Mbanjwa, attended that media briefing then in Megawatt Park and joins us live now. Xolani, I know you do have an interview coming up next as well. And I mean, one of the questions that I certainly have at this stage is just around if the financials are looking this good, does that mean we have a great replenishment of funds in order to continue to repair these power stations and perhaps in future build new ones?
Good afternoon, Arabile. Indeed, that is a perfect introduction there about how the state of Eskom is actually looking better and better. I mean, the room is having a mood and the morale is quite great, which is something that the CEO and the chairman spoke about. I'm joined now by Calib Cassim, who is the CFO of Eskom and the man who is forecasting that by March 2025, Eskom will be reporting a profit after tax of the first time of 10 billion rand for the first time since 2017. A very happy man this afternoon, a very proud man. In all your time, Mr. Cassim, you haven't actually had this expectation of reporting a profit for Eskom, and you've spent 7 years in that seat. What does this mean going forward until we finish this current financial year?
Yeah, I think firstly, as part of the turnaround strategy of Eskom, which started with the new board coming in, we're starting to see the benefits come through. I think first and foremost, no load shedding contributes significantly. We're expecting year on year that the diesel savings will drop from about 34 billion to about 14 billion. So 20 billion benefit coming from there. I touched on the fact that we've got the SARS diesel rebate settlement of 9 billion, so you get another benefit there. And then the fact that we're not load shedding, we are getting recovery in terms of revenue. We need to also deal with our cost base. So I think it's great not only for Eskom as a company to return to profitability, but also the morale it's created within the organization is tremendous. And then it puts us on a situation where going forward, we don't want to remain this burden on the fiscus, requiring continuous debt relief and support. We need to get to a position where we service our debt commitments on the back of our cash from operations. And as I said, sustainable Eskom means you must pay for your sustaining capex also from your cash from operations. So you should only be borrowing for expansionary projects and investment projects.
This is quite good news. Obviously, we are talking about the current financial year we are in, but when you are looking at the reporting financial year, which is 2023, 2024, which is what brought us here today, losses after tax are still better than the previous year, actually 26% better at 25.5 billion rands. That is quite good. But the whole of South Africa is worried about if things are so good, why then would you need, and we're going to hear from NERSA tomorrow, that huge, massive tariff increase? And I ask that knowing very well what has been said here today, that the municipal debt is actually something that is making those who are payers subsidize those who are non-payers. So what are you hoping to hear from NERSA tomorrow according to that application on municipal tariff increases?
So I think obviously NERSA needs to balance our sustainability in terms of the Electricity Regulation Act. We must recover efficient costs and earn a fair return, but also to balance the affordability from a customer perspective. And being at the public hearings across the country, it's a very difficult situation that the regulator finds themselves in. And I'm sure they'll apply their minds, take the inputs of both Eskom and the consumers into account to come up with this balancing act. But at the end of the day, we would like something that is fair, also appreciating that there needs to be mechanisms to address the sectors that are vulnerable. Especially we've seen pensioners, we've seen certain residents, and like you've got mechanisms for big commercial industries in terms of negotiated pricing agreements. I think the country has to deal with those categories of low-income consumers that need to be protected. And we need, together with government and municipalities, like the minister has said, the fact that we're not utilizing the free basic electricity, only 20% of that is being utilized. I remember at one of the public hearings, the one resident said she's been struggling for 5 years to sort out the administration. And I think, as the minister has indicated, there needs to be a better way to have direct access to that benefit of 50 kilowatt per hour per month free, but also I think a potential to increase that going forward, but in conjunction with the minister and his team and Minister of Finance and his team.
Calib Cassim, thank you so much for your time. Group Chief Financial Officer there. Quite a happy man this afternoon. I'm going to bring in the Minister of Electricity and Energy, Dr. Kgosientsho Ramokgopa. Dr. Kgosientsho Ramokgopa, thank you very much for your time. Overall impression here is that this is a good recovery from Eskom, judging by the 2022-2023 financial year, where we saw losses after tax of 34.4 billion rand. And now we are sitting at a projected profit. But let's talk about something that is something that you spoke about last, where you said that municipal debt is something that is very, very critical in the recovery of Eskom. But you can't deal with tariffs as well without dealing with debt. Let's talk about what kind of intervention can we look at or forward to, without getting into detail, as far as National Treasury, your department, Eskom, making sure that you cushion the consumer when it comes to those high tariffs that we expect to hear from NERSA's announcement tomorrow.
No, thank you very much, and greetings to the viewers back at home. Absolutely correct. I mean, if you look at the trend line of municipal debt increase, the debt to Eskom is increasing average monthly by about 3 billion rand. So that's going to do is to erode all the positives that comes as a result of the fiscal support. So the loan granted by National Treasury to Eskom, and provided Eskom meets certain predetermined, if you like, requirements, then that gets to be converted into equity. So all of that is going to be lost. It's going to subtract from that significantly, and Eskom will go back to the sorry situation that we have experienced over time. And Eskom, as a going concern, will be at great risk. So now municipalities collectively are owing Eskom about 95 billion rand. So the point we are making is that we have to find a more sustainable solution of how we can work with municipalities. An important part, you're not taking over the function of electricity distribution, reticulation, and also billing and collection, but you are capacitating municipalities over time. What do we know about a number of these municipalities? First is that they are illiquid. They don't have the sufficient revenue base to be able to pay what they are owing to Eskom. So it's important that we look forward. And in looking forward, we need to go in there, help the municipalities to build those electricity departments. So bring the necessary skills that are required and the competencies to discharge a function at that municipal level. These municipalities have hemorrhaged skills over time. They are unable to attract the relevant skills because they don't have sufficient incentive schemes. Some of these skills are in short supply, so there's competition for limited skills. So I think as Eskom, what we'll do is to build that pool of skills going into that space, and then help to build from the bottom up. The second thing that you need to do is to ensure that there's completeness of revenue, making sure you bill everyone that ought to be billed. It must be accurate, it must be timeous, and also free basic electricity. For those households that qualifies for free basic electricity, the support goes directly to them. The current dispensation is that it goes to municipalities, and municipalities, because they've got other competing needs, then they don't pass it through to the deserving people. So it's important that we do that. Of course, we'll come out with the more detailed intervention. You are absolutely correct. So if you don't pay that quantum of debt or money that is owing, which has not been collected, finds its way into the tariff structure. And you can see what Eskom has applied for: untenable, cannot be sustained, unaffordable of 36%. Of course, next I will make NERSA will make a determination. I'm confident that we'll not see those proportions of increases, the commitment we made to the general public. But at the same time is to protect the Eskom's interest. So we're confident that we can do both. So it's not a choice of one over the other. We can do both. Support, cushion deserving households, and also ensure that Eskom continues as a going concern. And this picture is going to improve.
Minister, thank you so much for your time. The Minister is saying very clearly that this is a good place for Eskom to be, but you can't deal with high tariffs while there are non-paying customers. And municipalities which went in to be supported, 71 municipalities who are in debt to Eskom at the tune of 95 billion rand, started with that program. As of November last month, only 10 were meeting those commitments. The other 61 are no longer paying those debts. So a good and bad picture, but what is clear, and what I can tell you there, Arabile, is that this summer, the Eskom management says we are going to be comfortable with a no load shedding summer expected. Back to you in studio.
Xolani, thank you so much for that. That certainly will be of continued relief then to many South Africans, as that continued to be the plight of South Africa, and the reason why growth even in the country had begun to stagger, if not fall below its ultimate potential.